Have y'all seen this? How is it that as kids we all knew the same rumor about the singer Ciara? Welcome to She Knows DNA. My name is Miavonna and I am a board certified genetic counselor. Now listen, y'all. Today's conversation and topic is going to take maturity. But before I get into it, I need to set a couple of ground rules and foundation. Number one, I am a Christian and this is a saved household. Ain't that right, Deuce? Deuce knows the Lord. This also does not have anything to do with how people self-identify, especially when it comes to gender or sexual preferences. This, however, does have to do with the sex assigned at birth. Those two are male and female. During this video, you'll notice that I will say male, female, girl, boy, man, woman interchangeably. But remember, I am speaking about the fetal or the person's sex. Last but not least, if you are one of those persons that still giggle when you hear about reproductive organs like penis and vagina, go ahead and get your giggles out the way now. Okay, you're not gonna be laughing throughout my whole video. All right, y'all, you ready? Let's get into it. Some of the earliest ways that we identify a sex of the baby is through ultrasound. And you know, they look between their legs at the genitalia to be able to tell you if they're a girl or a boy. This is also looked at once the baby is born. They look at those genitalia to see which parts they have, because then that'll dictate what is circled on the birth certificate. Because we have something called the non-invasive prenatal test, or we call that NIPT or NIPS, that not only screams the baby for chromosomal abnormalities, but it also is able to tell you the sex of the baby. And they do that by seeing if there is the presence of the Y chromosome or not. However, there is a group of genetic conditions that do not quite fit in that box. Back in the day, we used to call these people that fit under that category hermaphrodites. Remember what I was talking about earlier about Ciara? Who told us that? Nowadays, you may hear the word intersex. Either way, there is an umbrella of genetic conditions that we refer to as DSDs, or more so, differences of sexual development. So when talking about DSDs, we are simply saying that there is some type of difference that does not make it quite easy to identify whether someone is male or female. When it comes to DSDs, there are a number of variations that can occur. One category is looking at the external genitalia, and for DSDs, they are unable to tell whether it is girl parts or boy parts. Looking at the sex chromosomes, they don't have the typical XX for female, XY for male. There may be something extra or stuff missing. Next, there can be a difference in the internal reproductive organs, so that's things like ovaries and testes. And last but not least, there can be hormone imbalances. So maybe there's things too high in a woman that we would expect in a male, so on and so forth. Now, there are a lot of DSD conditions that I will not go through individually right now, but you can look forward to some of my future episodes. When it comes to DSDs, yes, there are some that we can see before the baby's born. There's another category of people that don't know that there's something wrong or something different until they hit puberty. Then there's a third group of people that they don't have any suspicion of them having a DSD until they try to have children. And last but not least, there are a group that will never know that they have a DSD unless they specifically do testing that looks for that kind of thing. Now, when talking to people that have DSDs, we do need to be very careful, because we have to remember that these people were born this way. It is literally a genetic, a chromosomal, a hormonal, biological change that is happening to them to where there is a difference than what we may typically see. These persons are not transgender. Nope, they're not transgender. When it comes to a number of these DSDs, the reason why it's preferred that they are called differences rather than disorders, because really a lot of them are not super detrimental to a person's health. It really just impacts, you know, puberty and having children. But there are some conditions that do come with a disorder piece. They may be at a higher risk of certain cancers, or maybe even be born with a congenital heart defect. Another thing to think about whenever we think about DSDs is the psychosocial piece. Imagine being in middle school again Everyone is getting their periods. The boys are getting taller, and yet you're not having those same experiences as them because y'all know kids talk. Or maybe even a person and their spouse have been trying to have children over and over again. And so eventually they go to a fertility clinic and they do some testing just to find out that there is a biological difference that is literally hindering you or even making it impossible for you to have the baby you always wanted. One of the first pieces of identification we have is checking that box of male or female, especially on that birth certificate. But those that are intersex, they don't know. What are we supposed to put for them? Yes, there are some people that they do not have atypical genitalia, but maybe their insides don't match. So yes, they may have checked off a box when they were born, and then later on, as they developed, saw that that may not be true. A question I get really with any genetic condition is there a cure? So technically, no, not with DSDs. There are treatments that can happen that can help how that person's body is functioning, like hormone replacement therapies. There are some surgeries that can happen to help the insides match the outside and vice versa, if you know what I mean. Now, how does someone get a DSD? And really, there's usually like two categories. One of them, it being an inherited genetic condition. So maybe the parents were carriers and then they came together, had a baby, and that all of their children would have a 25% chance of being affected. It also can just be something that went wrong during that baby's development, that there was nothing going on in the family history and things of that nature. It was just something that happened with just them. It was de novo. How many intersex people do we have in the United States? I'm glad you asked. It is estimated to be about 1.7%, meaning that is as equivalent to over 5 million United States citizens. Over 5 million United States citizens have a difference of sexual development. They have a DSD, whether they know it or not. So guys, I said all of this to say, when it comes to DSDs or really a number of genetic conditions, please go see a genetic counselor. Please go ask a genetic counselor. I don't need y'all doing what y'all did during the Olympics, where everybody all of a sudden had a PhD in genetics. And most of y'all were dead wrong. You were hell-bent on whatever it was that you looked up on Dr. Google and had no idea what you were talking about. So much so that this woman was put out there as possibly being transgender. And in the Olympics, mind you, the country that this woman came from, being transgender is illegal. People get killed for being transgender. But yet again, people with these fake doctorate degrees or anything in genetics were so loud and wrong, which is also one of the reasons why God gave me the thought to begin doing She Knows DNA, because y'all don't even know what you're talking about. So it's okay. I just need to fuss a little bit, but it's okay. That's why I'm here, where I can accurately explain some of these things to you. Because one thing I've learned when it comes to genetics, there's not a lot of yes or no's. It's a lot of maybe, I don't know. What do we do now? I don't know. Some things are not as simple as they seem. So before we almost get another Olympian killed, come to me, okay? Yes? Cool. And now to leave you with words of wisdom. Well, guys, it is April 1st, meaning it is my baby dog's gotcha day. So y'all know my dog's name is Deuce O'Shea Barquavius Craig, right? In the words of my mother, Deuce is going to fail out of dog school because he won't be able to write or say his full name. Mama, that's pretty jacked up because Deuce is very smart, aren't you, Deuce? Deuce knows his full name is Deuce O'Shea Barquavius Craig, and I know he can spell it. Spell it, Deuce. Oh, he. Very good. See? Joke's on you, mama. All right, guys, that's all I have for you today. Thank you guys for continuing to support my videos. Y'all are just so awesome. Like, real talk. Y'all cool. Just continue coming back and we'll learn together. Feel free to comment, subscribe, like, DM me for any potential topics that you want to go over. I know a number of you have already sent that to me. And of course, if you want me to come speak at your class, speak at your church, speak at your nursing home, I don't know. But either way, let me know. I love doing things like that, educating our community, and just helping us know that there is so many possibilities out there for us. I hope you learned something today. And come back next week for some more, okay? God bless you and may he keep you. Y'all have a great night. Bye. Praise him, Deuce. Yes. Surrender to God. Yes. Yes.